everybody. Today we'll be talking about plate boundaries and the activity that occurs at these plate boundaries. Uh, right here we got geology.com. This is a nice satellite image of the Earth. And Google has been kind enough to pinpoint some spots for us. We got a convergent boundary right here, got a divergent boundary right here, even transform over here. But let's go ahead and talk about what these boundaries movements are before we dive into that map. First we'll talk about the convergent boundary. This happens when two plates collide into each other. The oceanic plate right here is a thin, less dense version. The continental plate right here is thick. It's not moving, not going anywhere. So when these two plates collide, the oceanic plate has no choice but to submerge itself under the continental plate, forming volcanoes and mountains. Next, we'll talk about the divergent boundary. The divergent boundary happens both on land and in the ocean. It happens when two plates move opposite each other, move away from each other. Here under the ocean you can see that the lithosphere, like I said, is less dense, real thin, so magma can actually protrude through the weak part of the lithosphere and spread out across the ocean, creating a ridge, most famously the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Let's talk about the divergent plate boundary when it happens continentally. The continental plate, again, is much more thick, very dense. Hard to find a weak spot in the lithosphere here, so these plates just move away from each other. It does so forms a body of water. Example, the Red Sea. Lastly, we'll talk about transform boundary. This happens when two plates move opposite each other, north and southwise. As you can see here, the Pacific plate is moving up as the North American plate moves down. Here's a couple more images. This is the San Andreas Fault, a strike-slip fault. Imagine these two lines used to be one. The plate movements have formed this one to move down, this one to move over, and in turn creating earthquakes. Let's hop over to this map. On geology.com, this map is really neat. Let's take a look at this divergent boundary, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. You can zoom in here. You can see what has happened here. You can see the cracks in the continents or in the oceanic plates. And here's a nice Mid-Atlantic Ridge that's going on here. Let's zoom out. Take a look at the Appalachian mountain range. This is a convergent plate boundary that we talked about when the oceanic plate is submerged itself under a continental plate, forming mountains. And lastly, let's talk about the Red Sea. It's real interesting. This has happened when the Arabian plate to your right has moved opposite the African plate. These two plates used to be together. They moved apart. It's formed this lake or sea right here. So take a look around geology.com. Have fun with this map. Thanks for listening.